Video we're going to look at some hidden projector options. We go to our Monday Evening Swiss and we display. I'm going to go ahead and make this full screen by hitting the right keys. For most projector screens, if you go up to the top left hand menu and click normally around the top left hand corner of the letter, you're going to get this settings display. This controls the number of columns, the number of teams, how long it's going to stay on the screen before it does an auto refresh. And for this screen we can change the size in columns, we can change the font size for the leaderboard, we can control the number of teams on the leaderboard. We have 3 different themes. This is displaying black on a white background. We can specify a specific round number. Generally we want to have auto. We can also change the colors for each of the stratifications. We can support up to 5 strats. We can change the colors for the timer. This is important if you're in a facility where the contrast of the colors, if you're projecting, may not work. So in general, the default, which is a white on black, and that projects a lot better than the black on white. So you use black on white for computer screens, but you use white on black for projections. So let's see what happens when we change some of these numbers. Let's make the font size a little bit bigger for the teams. So if once we know the number of teams, we can control the display. So that's going to make it easier for the players. By default, we only show the top 20 teams. Generally, if you're not in the top 20, you really don't want people to know your score. That's the reason we only display the top 20 and that we don't scroll. The player's score is shown here. So for Team 1, they've started to do assignments for round 3, and a score in italics means their round 3 has yet to be scored. Let's look at the other themes. Let's go black on white. This would be very rare to do. You can see the contrast in colors and why it's difficult for players to read it. The yellow on black, I have used this in some hotels when the contrast, what you're displaying against, is just very hard to see, and the yellow will show up better than the white. Typically, if I'm going to be changing the screens, I normally do this on the first day of the tournament. I find out what colors are going to work best. You see here we've got A, B, and C. So I can change the colors. I can specify the colors by name, and at this point we assume you know some of the standard HTML colors, or you can specify using a hexadecimal code. So this is going to change the blue more to a whitish color, and similarly I can make this a lot lighter red. That's the B stratification. So you see what happens when I change it. You see how the red, sorry, it's gone darker. We've changed the color of the timer. So we can control lots of different options. If we want to go back to what it was, you see it's now passing these values as parameters on here. Hidden when we're in full screen mode, but that's how we maintain the change. The next time we create a new display, by default it goes back to the original. So this is the type of configuration you typically do on day 1 of a tournament. Find out what's going to work. Generally the defaults work best, but there are definitely some environments where you may want to try tweaking